Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey at the JX Fight Club, and I've got another question from a friend at Talent Dance TV. He's asking about, what do I think about those fights involving non-fighters? You know, where they get somebody with some celebrity status behind him, bring him into the UFC, and give him a fight and a big fat paycheck to go along with it. Is that fair? Is it fair to the fighters who, dedicate their whole lives to this craft and will never make that kind of money? Well, good question. That is a tricky situation. Now, as far as what I enjoy watching fights that are good. And generally, if you have a celebrity matchup, for example, that fight with CM Punk, yeah, it wasn't a very good fight, not on his part anyway. His opponent, sorry, I'm blanking on his name. It's kind of sad we don't even remember the name of the guy who won. Mickey Gall. Yeah, that's it, Mickey Gall. I do remember the name of the guy who won. But, man, that is sad that it took me some time to remember that. Man. Anyway, CM Punk versus Mickey Gall. CM Punk is a pro wrestler, if you're not familiar, and he got contracted with the UFC to do this fight, which was supposed to bring in WWE fans the same way that Brock Lesnar did. Now, there's a huge difference, a big difference between Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. See, Brock Lesnar is a giant man who knows how to wrestle. Like, he actually is a legitimate wrestler. Not just a stage wrestler, not just for worked wrestling matches, but he was an actual, legitimate, amateur wrestler in college. The guy was fantastic. And so, if you have that kind of athleticism, that kind of size and explosiveness, and that kind of wrestling pedigree as Brock Lesnar did, the transition to MMA kind of makes sense. Now, if you are a, let's say, performance wrestler, you do the worked fights, right? Not the shoots. And that's all you do. Now, we see what happened with CM Punk and Mickey Gall. I mean, it's the case of, a guy with basically amateur MMA experience against a professional. That doesn't end well. Is it fun to watch? If you like seeing one-sided fights, sure. If you like seeing a compelling fight, like I do, then no. At the same time, I totally understand why they did it, because that fight made a lot of money. Now, the question is that fight going to make a lot of money in the long run? Are they going to be able to capitalize on that to keep the WWE fans coming back to watch MMA? And I would venture to say no. With a fighter like Brock Lesnar, who actually had some staying power in the sport, yeah. Those fans are going to cross over between the venues, right? The WWE guys, they stayed with Brock Lesnar because he stayed with the UFC. But, man, are the WWE fans going to pay for a pay-per-view to watch their hero get beaten down for real again and again and again? In CM Punk? No, I don't think they will. Do you remember celebrity boxing? It was this thing they did on television. They got some kind of older, washed-up celebrities who really needed a paycheck and had them do amateur boxing matches with each other. They had like that dude who played Screech from Saved by the Bell, Dustin Diamond, and that guy from Welcome Back, Kotter, who played a similar type of character on that show. And they boxed each other. And, you know, they were ugly boxing matches. I think they got Tanya Harding, the figure skater, in there at one point. People watched it. I mean, they approached it like, okay, let's see these people whose names we know, because we have a very strong connection to names that we know. I mean, that's why people are famous in the first place, right? That's why you have an A-list actress like, say, Scarlett Johansson playing the lead character in Ghost in the Shell, for example, which most people recognize as a Japanese film. And a lot of people on the internet cried with outrage, like, why didn't they get a Japanese actress? And the answer is because in mainstream America, nobody knows any Japanese actresses. But who do they recognize? Who do they gravitate toward? Scarlett Johansson, A-list actress. And so that ultimately is what's going to sell the film. Now, is that a good thing? I don't know. If the goal is money, sure. If the goal is something that transcends cash, then maybe not. At the same time, I gotta say, if Miley Cyrus were to fight Ronda Rousey, I guarantee that fight would sell 1 billion tickets. That fight would make $1 billion. Easy. And take any celebrity like that, any celebrity at all. I mean, Justin Bieber. Put Justin Bieber in the UFC. I don't care who he's fighting. That fight makes $1 billion. Okay? Even if it's a brutal one-side beatdown. Maybe especially if it is, because there are a lot of people out there on the internet who are not kind to the Biebs. Poor guy. What has he ever done besides make music, right? But there's something about something in our psychology that wants to see these demigods that we built up torn down. And that says something about us. Something about us. You, me, all of us. Frankly, I would tune in to see that fight. I would tune in to see, you know, Ronda Rousey versus Miley Cyrus or Justin Bieber versus anyone. I would watch that. And I hate that I would, but I would watch that. There's something dark inside us. Something dark and unsavory and maybe even straight up evil that makes us want to see that stuff. And that's not a good thing, but that is the way we're wired. Do I like it? No, I mean, a fighter's life is tough. Man, it's a tough life, clawing your way up, being a ham and egger, being a journeyman fighter, just trying to make ends meet, trying to make enough to pay for food, trying to make enough to pay the rent. And if you get cut or injured or whatever, you got to pay for the hospital bills on top of that. And a lot of fighters work full time. I've mentioned this before. And so as a fighter, seeing a guy like CM Punk, who didn't do his homework first, didn't put in the hours, didn't put in the years, and got the free golden ticket to the UFC. Yeah, that's a big slap in the face. I mean, I know some guys who are good fighters, good fighters, who may never, ever get a shot in the UFC. And they deserve it. And they would be fantastic. But they might never get it because it is cutthroat competition. And right now, it's not just enough to be a good fighter. And you have to be able to sell the show. You have to make people want to watch you. And for the average person, they don't just want to see a compelling fight. They want to see a compelling story. They want a narrative. They want Godzilla versus King Kong. Not fighter A versus fighter B. So I think we're seeing some of this with Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather right now. They've been going back and forth, hashing out the details of a boxing match. And is it a compelling boxing match? Probably not. Conor McGregor is a good boxer for MMA, but dude is not being tested at the professional level in boxing. So most likely, I mean, in the back of our minds, we all know he's probably going to lose that fight. But we all want to see it, right? Because Conor McGregor is not just fighter A. Floyd Mayweather is not just fighter B. I mean, that's Godzilla versus King Kong. That's a story. That's a narrative. That's what interests us. Let's take a tarantula and a scorpion and put them in a jar and shake it up and see what happens. So yeah, it does bother me as a fighter. And as a coach, trying to get my fighters, you know, good fights that pay the bills, that help them, you know. And hopefully one day some of these guys will get to the UFC. I hope so, you know. Make that money. So yeah, it is insulting when I see these guys who don't do that work. They don't go through that process. And they get it handed to them. And it's kind of an insult to the fans, too. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not talking about the people who tune in to see the bug fight, to see the story. I mean the people who want to see the compelling fights. But it is what it is. They make their money their way. I make my money my way. Anyway, that's my answer. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Questions about anything, technique, life, fitness, whatever. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Get out there and train, guys.